Hi. So the two stigma events that I attended this week was a movie screening of Voices and the panel discussion. I thoroughly enjoyed both of these events and would have loved to attend all of them had my schedule allowed me to. These events made me really think how I let stigma affect me in my everyday life. Such as, have I ever been afraid to tell anyone something because I'm afraid they might judge me or think of me differently? Yes. Have I remained silent and in the end just hurting myself even more because I am afraid to tell others that I have a mental illness? Yes. Did I convince myself that there was a freak inside me? Yes. Mental illness runs thick in my family, but along with that, so does stigma. My grandma is clinically depressed, my dad as well. My uncle and my brother are diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and about a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with anxiety. All of these diagnoses, and not even to mention my mom's side of the family of mental illness. So pretty much inevitably, through my genes, I was bound to wind up with some sort of mental illness before I die. However, the way I processed it at first was not the healthiest of ways to handle my situation. I have come a long way since a year and a half ago. Instead of viewing my diagnosis of anxiety as a fault in myself, I now know the importance of telling my story, and I should take pride in it, not be ashamed of it. My anxiety started off as a shortness of breath. I felt like I couldn't even get enough air into my lungs. I thought I was going crazy, and that it was all in my head. Little did I know that the home of where my problem lied was actually in my head. But jokes aside, these should have been a warning sign to me. Instead, I just pushed it aside, kept taking on more and more challenges academically, in my career, as well as in my personal life. I pushed it far aside that a result of a panic attack, I just deemed what was a feeling as another issue of me overthinking and overreacting was an emergency room visit at midnight when my head hurt so bad I thought I had a migraine. Several doctors, multiple counselors, and one large hospital bill later, I was finally diagnosed with anxiety disorder. My GSAT scores were off the charts. The chart didn't even have large enough numbers for me. I was in the worst place I'd ever been in my life. I shut out my family, pushed away my friends, and started slowly pushing away my boyfriend. I told myself I was better off alone and acted as if my mental illness was contagious. Like I would spread all of my anxiety onto someone, like it were a cold or something. I let my diagnosis of anxiety disorder define me and take over my life. I called myself crazy. If someone were to have told me then what I know now about mental health stigmatization, I would have told them to stop spelling at me. I had no clue what stigma meant. After taking abnormal psychology and currently taking the Science of Psychotherapy and attending the stigma-free Westminster events, I feel that I have a strong knowledge base to what mental health stigmatization is. I feel that I could spot mental health stigmatization in a daily conversation and would be able to point it out and provide a better way of speaking about mental health to others. A few golden nuggets that I learned from this past week was, 1, the importance of early intervention. Mental health is not like a broken arm. You often can't see physical symptoms of it, but that does not mean that you should ignore it. Believe what people say rather than just questioning it. Provide extra support for them. If someone you know, whether they are close or not, is experiencing or dealing with mental illness, practice your empathy and be there for them. Or if you can't be there for them, then provide them with the resources of someone who can. 2, take pride in your story. By being willing to open and share with others. Before I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, I didn't know anyone who had been diagnosed with a mental illness besides my family. If people were more apt to sharing their stories, experiences, and insight, we can create a world where people maybe don't feel so alone and afraid anymore. And 3, break down the stigma wall that keeps people silent. Be an advocate. This stigma-free Westminster Week doesn't end here. Continue to not only make a difference on campus, but at work, in your personal life, and around the community to eliminate mental health stigmatization. As Lisa Jones stated in her speech at the panel, it starts with you. Let's take what we have learned in class thus far and through stigma-free Westminster events into our stigma reduction projects. I feel that we now have a better understanding of where to begin or what group to target for our projects. Oftentimes, stigma begins in homes of those who have people or family members with mental illnesses. I know it definitely did for me. So let's continue to keep this conversation going. My video will end here, but mental health destigmatization does not.